Everybody, I'm here with Adam Green from the Progressive Change Committee, and tell everybody about your committee.
The Progressive Change Campaign Committee, boldprogressives.org, is a million-member organization committed to the Elizabeth Warren wing of American politics. We are very happy with the direction that this presidential primary has taken, with Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton really trying to compete with each other to be bolder on economic populism issues like breaking up the big Wall Street banks, expanding Social Security, debt-free college. There really is no third way candidate or DLC candidate on the debate stage right now. So really progressives have won. And now the question is, how big will we go? How will we get there?
So you're saying that you think Hillary has actually moved to the Bernie Sanders kind of platform of breaking up the big banks and college for everybody?
I wouldn't say they have the same platform. I would say they're moving in the same direction, right? They both have their own plans for addressing too big to fail banks. Bernie Sanders would argue that his goes bigger, and having a discussion about how to best break up the big banks, when to do it, is a much better place than we were 4 years or 8 years ago. Same with debt-free college. We worked really hard this year with a bunch of other groups to move that to the center of the national debate when zero politicians were talking about it just 1 year ago. Hillary Clinton has a debt-free college plan. Bernie Sanders has a free tuition plan. Let's have that be the spectrum of debate as opposed to where we were just a couple years ago. The same on expand Social Security. Both have iterations of expanding Social Security. He wants to do it for everyone. She wants to do it for just the most low-income people. She has not yet said that she will not cut benefits for anybody, which is actually the one big unchecked box that we still need to hear from her. But the fact that the debate has moved here when a Democratic White House was proposing cuts just a couple years ago means that, again, the Elizabeth Warren wing overall is having a big influence over this contest.
I agree. I think Elizabeth Warren's been great for the Democratic Party. Do you think, now, I've been making the case, or I've been saying on my show, that if people say Bernie's not going to be able to get anything done and because he's dreaming too big, and I say, but we need to change the conversation, pretty much what you've been saying right now. Do you think that conversation will change if Hillary is the president?
That's a good question. I think due to the times, the conversation is changing, and if we're successful in having, say, debt-free college be a first 100 days issue, that would help change the conversation. Bernie Sanders, look, the big contrast in this race is a governing philosophy. And her governing philosophy very blatantly is that she thinks she can get along with people in D.C. better, move the conversation in a populist direction, and hopefully get things done that way. His governing philosophy is basically, we need a revolution. Even if I'm the only one in Washington, I'm going to galvanize the grassroots, like Obama promised to do but never actually did, to pressure Congress and force D.C. to change. It's an interesting proposition, and voters need to decide whether they think that's plausible. That said, in addition to the conversation, there are thousands, probably tens of thousands of people in the appointments of the executive branch, the SEC, the FDIC, alphabet soup all across the place, where it matters whether we have progressives appointing people to these positions. And even without Congress, we can make big changes, really implementing laws that have been around since FDR, giving these agencies powers that oftentimes they don't use when it comes to trust busting and stuff like that. So there is a big role for the executive branch, regardless of what the Congress looks like.
I agree with you. Here's my question. People. So if Bernie Sanders becomes president, do you think he'll be able to actually implement those things that you are fighting for, Elizabeth Warren's fighting for, Hillary Clinton is starting to fight for, I guess? Do you think, what do you say to those naysayers?
Well, look, if there's a Republican House, there will be challenges for regardless who the next Democratic president is. And in my mind, the only way to get around that is sheer public pressure to force Republicans to cave, right? Even with Democrats, as we know, not all Democrats are created equal, and there are some problems we have. Mark Warner. So using the bully pulpit is really one of the best things we can do to implement. Part of implementing is changing the conversation. Part of implementing is rallying the public. And really the last step in implementing is actually passing a law. Right? If you think about the quest for healthcare reform, decades in the making, right? The first step is that it has to be credible and loud in the conversation, and then you build political will, political support, and oftentimes it takes years. So I am confident that regardless of who the nominee is, the direction of the Democratic Party is in an Elizabeth Warren wing, direction. But the question of how big we go, how precisely we get there, is really the debate that we're having in this primary, and it'll be really interesting to see what happens.
It seems like all your issues that you're talking about, it seems like there's one issue that's kind of in front of all of them, and that would be money in politics, which makes all those things harder to do. And
Of course.
My problem with Hillary is that I think if she is the nominee, we won't have that conversation about getting money out of politics. Whereas if Bernie is, we definitely will have that, because that's his core, where that's not her core. In fact, she's the other way. The Democrats, since her husband, have been in bed with Wall Street and big money. And so a lot of people say, and I would be interested to get your opinion on this, do you think we can fix any of the other problems if we don't fix money in politics first?
Okay, I'm not one of the people that says you cannot fix any problem before you fix money in politics. I am a firm believer that our chances of success in every other issue go way up if we fix money in politics. And therefore, your core point is still true, which is we need a champion, and we need this to be a front burner issue. On the question of whether Hillary Clinton will be a champion, that's a really interesting question. It might honestly take champions in Congress to force her to do it, but we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jimmy. And thanks for your time.
Yep.